Look at the screen. $38 trillion. This is not just a statistic. It is a ticking time bomb at the very heart of our modern civilization. Every single second, the United States national debt surges by more than $70,000. Imagine a printing press that never sleeps, churning out green paper to fuel a fire that can never be extinguished. The world watches in a state of constant anxiety. Why is it that the higher the debt, the stronger this currency seems to become? It is a mechanical paradox. Imagine a massive aircraft with its engines on fire, yet it still flies higher than any other plane because of the sheer thrust of its monopoly. From the streets of Buenos Aires to the skyscrapers of Shanghai, the same question is being whispered. Is the era of the dollar over? We see the chaos in the markets, the flickering red screens, the panic in the eyes of investors who realize that the foundation is shaking. But here is the brutal truth. This system was not built to collapse easily. It was designed to be a trap from which no one can truly escape. Welcome to Kaido 5. Today, we aren't just looking at money. We are dismantling the most complex mechanical engine ever built by man, the financial architecture of global control. Strap in, because to understand your future, you must understand how this machine functions. To understand why the dollar remains king, you must look past the paper and see the gears inside. The first major gear is called SWIFT. Think of it as a giant, high-tech supercomputer sitting in a reinforced bunker, processing trillions of dollars in transactions every single day. It is the electrical grid of global trade. If you are disconnected from SWIFT, you are effectively erased from the modern world. This is the digital wall. When a business in Vietnam wants to import components from Europe, they don't use cash. They send data packets through SWIFT. And because this system is controlled by American standards, the dollar becomes the only source code. You cannot run the software of global commerce without the operating system, and the dollar is that operating system. Next, look at the piston, the Petrodollar. In 1971, President Nixon did the unthinkable. He decoupled the dollar from gold. But he replaced gold with something far more practical: energy. A deal was struck with Saudi Arabia that changed history. Oil would only be sold in US dollars. Think about this. Every factory on Earth, every car, every ship needs oil. To get that oil, they are forced to hold dollars. This creates an artificial gravity. The United States can print money from thin air, but the rest of the world must trade real resources, real sweat, and real labor to get those dollars just to keep their lights on. It is a perpetual mechanical cycle. Even as BRICS nations try to build a rival engine, they face a massive engineering problem. You cannot easily replace the foundation of a skyscraper while the building is still standing. The central gear controlling the pressure is the Federal Reserve. When the Fed adjusts a single interest rate dial, the global economy shifts. It is like they are pulling oxygen out of the room. Capital flows back to America like a giant vacuum, leaving developing nations thirsty for cash. America doesn't just export products, they export inflation. When they print too much money, the value of every dollar in your pocket, no matter where you are in the world, is diluted. This is high-precision financial engineering. They control the valve that regulates the prosperity of the entire planet. You cannot change the pipes when the water is flowing at maximum pressure. The infrastructure of global debt is forged in steel branded with the US dollar. But the machine does not just sit still. It is in a state of constant warfare. Right now, we are witnessing the rise of a digital iron curtain. The dollar is being used as a weapon, more powerful than any aircraft carrier or hypersonic missile. When a nation is cut off from the global financial grid, their entire industrial engine seizes up. Imagine a factory with the world's most advanced robots, but no electricity to run them. That is what happens when the dollar-based system is weaponized. This creates a desperate race. China, Russia, and the Middle East are trying to build their own backup generators' alternative payment systems. But the friction is immense. To leave the dollar is to leave the most liquid, most efficient market in human history. It's like trying to build a new internet from scratch while everyone else is already on fiber optics. Let's look closer at the control room, the Federal Reserve. They have a tool that no king or emperor in history ever possessed, the interest rate dial. By turning this dial just a fraction of a percentage, they can change the weather of the entire world economy. When the Fed raises rates, they are effectively pulling the world's liquidity back into the American vault. This causes a vacuum effect. Emerging markets see their currencies collapse, their debts become unpayable, and their industries stall. Why? Because most of the world's debt is denominated in dollars. They are forced to pay back more than they borrowed, in a currency that is becoming harder to get. This is the ultimate engineering feat. The United States can export its inflation. When they print too much money and prices rise, the burden is shared by every person on Earth holding a greenback. It is a global tax, collected without a single tax collector ever knocking on your door. The machine is designed to win, regardless of the outcome. Why do we trust it? Why do we keep playing the game? Because of the network effect. In engineering, a system is only as good as its reliability. The dollar has 80 years of reliability, backed by the largest military and the most innovative tech sector. Even your favorite supercar, your high-end camera, or the smartphone in your hand, their prices are ultimately anchored in this system. It is a psychological cage forged in steel. We are all cogs in this machine because we choose the path of least resistance. To change the system would require a global catastrophe that most are not prepared to survive. So the gears keep turning, and we keep feeding the engine with our time and our labor. The US dollar remains the global standard for one simple reason. It is indispensable. It is the only lubricant that keeps the global gears from grinding to dust. And here's the lesson for your life from Cato 5. In an era of inflation, uncertainty, and rapid change, what is your personal currency? Are you a common component that can be bought anywhere? Or are you the core processor that the machine cannot function without? Do not fear financial crises. Fear being someone who has no value during that crisis. The dollar is strong because it solves a problem for the world. You will be strong when you solve a problem that no one else can. Sharpen your skills with the precision of a master watchmaker. Train your discipline like a jet engine, no errors, no fatigue. Do not chase the money. Build yourself into a system that money is forced to find. Stay sharp. Stay mechanical. Stay disciplined. This is the way of those who master the gears of fate. I will see you at the top.